Hello and welcome to the brand new YouTube series entitled True Scary Stories. I hope you like it. This is my first attempt actually at doing this. I'm not really experienced in terms of this, but I do love the horror genre immensely, and I do love scary stories. And since it's October, I thought I'd bring you guys something really fresh. I'll try to be as unique as possible, but I feel as if there's, kind of no way to do it, honestly, because, honestly, if you think about it to a certain extent, like, everything's been done, so hopefully these scary stories will actually entertain you. I think it'll entertain myself, and we'll see. My ultimate goal for this series is, if it works out and, things start actually getting on its foot, whatever that means, but, then I'll actually have the series going, and I'm doing this all for passion, all for love of it, not to get anything else, just because I really enjoy this kind of stuff, and what better way to share it with you than to provide something that I love. So yeah, just to reiterate, this is gonna happen as much as I have the free time to do it, and based on the success of the series. I don't know. Again, I'm a new YouTuber and I haven't been doing this for that long anyway. I've had a channel before, like back, and deleted all my videos. They weren't anything like incredibly amazing or anything like that, but yeah, we'll definitely see for sure. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what kind of stories you guys want to hear. Because obviously the audience is definitely instrumental to the success of a YouTuber, honestly, because without the audience, there is no YouTube, there is no anything. So just a couple things to keep in mind. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much about what we're going to cover. So, hopefully this series is, as amazing as it can possibly be, and enjoy. True scary stories from the state of Michigan. True scary stories. I have never had any paranormal experiences before, or perhaps I had never recognized them as one before, until about a year ago, which I believe was a true paranormal experience. Now, as I start to write this story, you need to know that I suffer from an illness that can sometimes give me hallucinations, but after having this illness for a long time, I can easily distinguish hallucination from reality. They would always pop up if my medication went wonky or my pain level was up. I have 100% confidence to be able to distinguish the two. Now, as I start my story, I was in Three Rivers, Michigan, visiting my boyfriend at the time, for the second time since our relationship started. We had been in a long-distance relationship for a couple of years, and due to work and our money situations, we only really saw each other once a year. I was a few days in visiting when I was talking with my boyfriend's brother about ghosts, because of a show I saw. It was said to be based on real experiences, and it fascinated me. That is when the brother told me that their house was an old house built a really long time ago. A lot of the houses were like that where he was. He then told me that a boy that once lived at the house committed suicide in the 70s. Shocked and nervous, I laughed it off, telling him he was yanking my chain. But he swore it was true, and even stated that his friend had heard the little boy walking around. His house being so old creaked a lot, and you could hear everyone walking around and even tell where they were at. Later that night, I was snuggling with my boyfriend in his bed, and we started to talk about ghosts, and he then said the same thing as his brother, that a boy had committed suicide, and sometimes you could hear him walking in the hall during the night, playing. Startled and starting to get really frightened, I snuggled close to him and fell asleep. Now this is the part things getting strange. I had not felt like that I was asleep. I saw two figures standing over me, but they were black shadows. But I knew one of them was the boy my boyfriend and his brother was talking about. He was an older man, and the older man was trying to show him something. I was paralyzed and couldn't move. I tried to wake up, but nothing was happening. The older man reached forward, putting his hand on my face. My body felt stiffened and I couldn't move. Desperation filled me as I tried to wake up even more. I could kind of understand what they were saying, but some of it was muffled. Then at last, darkness took me and I woke freaking. Then I felt like something was standing at the door. Scared, I went downstairs because I was truly frightened to go back to sleep. It was around 3 in the morning. Then I started to hear someone running in the halls. I froze, tense, not knowing what to do. I knew the brother was sleeping as his room was next to my boyfriend's, and my boyfriend's was still passed out, and his parents are downstairs asleep. Back and forth, I heard the footsteps go for 10 minutes and then stopped. Every half hour after that, I would hear him run. Then a few hours later, he stopped. I never heard him run again. This had happened never before when I was at his house, and the first time I visited. Me and my boyfriend were going through a rough patch, and I believe that the negative energy enabled the ghost. But it was truly a frightening experience. My medication was regulated at the time, and when I talked to my boss, she said to go with my gut. My gut tells me that dream was not a dream. I don't know what to think of that little boy. I do not think that the boy itself is a bad spirit, for he never hurt me. But as for that mysterious other spirit, I'm not quite sure of that one. Story number 2. A college haunting. This story comes courtesy of one of my friends. I think the best place for ghost hunting would have to be my college. I have a few friends who have varying levels of the sixth sense, and the paranormal activity is sometimes so strong it can be sensed in the day when students, teachers, and cars are passing by. It's pretty cool if you're into that sort of thing. The best example of how haunted it is would be the ghost haunt my friends and I did a night before this year's Halloween, October 30th. We started at 10:30 p.m. A group of 4, I, my boyfriend, Jane, and John, names excluded and substituted for privacy. I am, admittedly, not very tuned to the supernatural. I've picked up smells and sounds, but that's about it. My boyfriend is much more active. He can sense heat, cold, and can generate a lot of spiritual energy that attracts a great amount of ghosts, which gets him a lot of trouble sometimes. Jane is able to obtain residual memories of past events by getting into contact with ghosts. In this way, she can pick up on emotions, age, names, dates, etc. John was in the same boat as me, an open-minded survivor, an open-minded observer. Our destination was Holmden, the reputed most haunted building on campus. That night we sensed 5 spirits, 6 if you can count the terrier, which was the first spirit. Next was the boy who drowned in the pond by Holmden. His name was Michael. We were using the pendulum method with my car keys, which worked the last time we encountered him. But he ran after the first couple of questions. Looking back, this seems rather foreboding of what was to come. By this time, Jane was being pulled towards the side of the building, to one of the windows. She sensed a maid standing by the window, and the woman was scared. Jane said it was as if something bad was going on past the window in the meeting room, and the maid was scared of the outcome. My boyfriend got a chill, and Jane told us what the maid was pushing us back, as if to protect us from what was going on in the room. So we left to walk around to the back of the home. By the corner, Jane found a butler standing stationary, probably smoking a cigarette, she said. My boyfriend also sensed him, slightly cold neutrality. Butler did not care about us, both of them said. Sometimes during this incident, I heard faint music, as if it was coming out of an old-fashioned record player. You know, the one with the horn? It didn't really scare me at the time because a lot of college students play music really loud at night. This was old-fashioned music from the early 1900s. Waltzing almost. But I'll save that significance until close to the end. As we rounded back, my boyfriend sensed hands pressing from behind. Yesterday around 10:30, he had also sensed the same feeling walking in front of Holmden, much to my chagrin. So he knew this feeling, which was not cold or hot, but a physical feeling like someone was hanging on to him from behind. Jane suddenly got a name. Samantha. We used the pendulum method again to figure out that it was really her name. According to this method, it was, and she was scared. This is why she was hanging on to my boyfriend's coat and why she had been following him the day before. Then what followed her really freaked us out. John, surprisingly, was the first person to sense him. He said he smelled something burning, like incense. We stopped and sniffed. I smelled wood burning, like pine trees, and two others smelled cigar smoke or pipe smoke. Now, analyze these smells. The smell of incense could symbolize a good spirit, the pine trees a neutral good spirit. But the last smell, what they smelled was tobacco maybe. That means someone was with us who had possibly been a smoker. But Samantha was scared of it. She hid behind my boyfriend the entire time. We were standing in a circle, my boyfriend next to John and Jane across from her, and me to her right. Then we decided to ask Samantha some questions about the spirit that was scaring her. What we got was that he was bad, and he was the stableman of Bakuski Chapel, which used to be a stable. This guy was horrible news. He tried to attack John, who was beginning to have pain in his shoulder blades, and he followed us all the way to the edge of Holmden. The cigar smoke turned into burning rubber, and it stank. We left as fast as we could, and Samantha was close behind. This is only half of what went on that night. Jane later got possessed by Samantha, and we were able to ask Sam some questions about her death. It was a dangerous thing that took us by surprise, but luckily Samantha was not a negative ghost, just a sad one, and Jane was able to get a hold of her body within a few minutes. The hunt ended around 1 a.m., and we were all satisfied, some more so than others. But that brings us back to the music I heard. I didn't take note of it then, and I had put it out of my head for good until one of my other friends, a person with a high level of the sixth sense who did not go on the hunt, told me about some of her experience in Holmden. She says there was a spirit on the third floor of Holmden that freaked her out, who was really eerie. My friend got the feeling this woman was crazy, but evil crazy. According to her, this woman always sang a song about burning children and drowning them, stuff that would put someone in a loony bin right away. Something about what my friend said sparked my interest, and I inquired about the song, asking her to sing it. She sang a line, and I froze in my tracks. It was the same old-fashioned song I heard during our hunt at Holmden. With ghosts, spirits, demons, and angels around every corner, and people who do not normally have a sense for the paranormal suddenly finding they are being watched by something, that something is lurking in the shadows, that the shadows move. It is a very active location for spirits in what I think is the most haunted place in Michigan.